$6 million in calendar year 2014. That's how the federal government records it, calendar year, not fiscal year. Instead of cutting, vehicle revenue miles rose to 8.94 million by calendar year 2019, dropped during COVID, and recovered to 8.82 million in calendar year 2021. There's thus been a 2.7% increase in service since the light rail fail, not the promised cut. The only thing increasing at PSTA is cost. There has been a 114% increase in PSTA's budget in the last 10 years, and yet ridership continues to plummet. I won't have time to continue with all my comments, so I will have to decide what else to say. But in the words of the comedian Sebastian Maniscalco, aren't you embarrassed? I mean, really, seriously, aren't you embarrassed to get it wrong all the time? I'm talking about the board as a body. In the 2008 projection, the Transit Development Plan, again, it's hard to see, they projected this ridership. The red dots are reality. Okay, you think, well, that was 2008. The latest Transit Development Plan for the current decade projects that with the BRT in place, that your ridership's going to increase 20% in this decade. We are only going to hold 20%, so if you're going to go from 0.8 to 1.2, you got to have a 50% increase from this point. You won't have it. Somewhere in PSTA's materials, it says that you are to engage with its critics. Mr. Miller specifically, he does not. In fact, later today, you're probably going to approve the 8.4% pay increase, annual pay raise that he's asking for. I know the material says 1.5%, but he got an market adjustment last year. And to the taxpayers, I say, please wake up. PSTA is costing each family of four about $800 per year, and that money isn't being put to good use. In fact, it's being used to work against the interests of both the middle class and poor people. It is being used, as I've said several times, to serve special interests. And that's why this board is willfully asleep. It's not here to serve the people. It's here to serve those special financial interests. 20 years ago, there were discussions about, before PSTA was formed, there were discussions about contracting out the services that PSTA provides. We're having the county take over. I'm sure Commissioner Seal remembers that. It is time to restart those discussions because PSTA and this board has proven its incompetence over and over and over again. Again, PSTA ridership is plunging. It's plunging at an accelerating rate. PSTA spending the spending is obscenely high, and this board just continues to whistle Dixie. Sometimes you have to insult people to their face. To their face, you have to tell them they're corrupt in order to get any change. I thank this board for nothing.
Thank you, Mr. Rask. Okay.
I'd be happy, just for the benefit of the board, to respond to some of the comments that have been made about a sunshine law allegation. I was approached by Mr. Rask as I was walking in the door, and I didn't conclusively aver anything. I succinctly explained that the sunshine law meeting notice requirements are a reasonableness standard, and they are not dictated or driven by any posting on a bulletin board. This meeting has been publicly noticed both in PSTA's annual advertisement, on PSTA's website, through news outlets, and through other methods of communication. So I have no issue or concern that this meeting was not publicly noticed. The news cameras were just here a moment ago. So I just wanted to respond to give that benefit to the board that I don't have a concern with you moving forward today. The case that Mr. Rask is referring to in 2014, even as he stated, was over a failure to provide minutes to the meeting, which you all have taken some of my trainings. There's 3 requirements to the Sunshine Law: reasonable public notice, public access, which we have here through our open doors and facilities today, and that minutes be taken. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Schulman, did you have something?
Yes, Madam Chair,
sorry.
thank you. And I'm glad Mr. Rask is still in the room. And it's probably not terribly appropriate to address the public, but my question would be, sir, are you embarrassed for when you're wrong? 2 years ago, you stood in front of this group and said that we would never receive funding for Sunrunner. You said that Mr. Miller was deceptive. You said that staff was lying. And you, sir, were wrong. And I have not heard an apology. I have not heard a correction from you. And so remember that that embarrassment goes both ways.
No.
That is up to the chair. Thank
No.
you.
We're not having a conversation here.
I only wanted the board to know.
Commissioner Flowers?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want it to be on the record because I don't want anything to ever be assumed as it relates to my silence when it comes to something as serious as was discussed. I never, by my silence, wanted to be referred or referenced that I felt that the item that was placed before the voters was a failure. So I'm just clarifying that for the record. I just want it read into the minutes that my silence does not ascertain in any way, shape, or form that that is my feeling, assumption, or presumption. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And just for the record, I don't believe anybody that's on this board right now was here in 2014. Okay, that's time for the consent agenda. Are there any items you wish to be pulled?